Do you want to hear something really funny? Basically, when I worked at Made By, I really hated my boss, called Ilana McAspen. She was a complete bitch. Everyone hated her. And she wasn't very good either. And she honestly said, like, there was some article, a sustainability article, where someone had, someone had said energy cannot be created. And she started kicking off about this. How is this true? How can energy not be created? Honestly, I just thought, shoot me between the eyes. How can, at this age, you don't know the most basic? Anyway, so this was a kind of conversation you'd have with this imbecile. And then I went down to 3 days a week. So I could, because I started my master's while I was there, and I went down 3 days a week. And so I could work on my master's, and I wanted to come top of my year, and I was going to move across full-time to the master's. Julian was renovating our Chelsea house. She never came. We never invited her to that house. She was extremely jealous of it. She said stuff like, well, I know Chelsea very well. I used to live in Battersea. And I was like, it's literally like a third of the price, plus you were renting, and me bought that house. And just all sorts of horrible things like that. She even tried it on with Julian, and he just said, he actually said, when I first met Bushra, I just knew I had to marry her. The moment I set eyes on her, hadn't even spoken to her, and I just thought, I'm going to marry her. That's actually what Ryan said to me as well, Julian, by the way, so you may have copied him, Ryan Lockins. I've had a few people say that to me. Do you know why? Because I'm probably going like this. I'm not high. This is me. I'm very funny. Anyway, so the upshot is this horrible woman. So I went to 3 days a week. I didn't invite her to any of my parties. I couldn't wait to see the back of her. And in my 3 days a week, she would, bearing in mind, I was like working on my master's. I was very, I was trying to go into a creative career, possibly academia, whatever. I was kind of having a rethink. And she would call me up like at 11 o'clock on a Friday night or something, and just have a go at me for no reason. Obviously, she had a bad day. She'd be on all these painkillers the whole time, because she had no pain threshold whatsoever. She'd been on painkillers for decades. You can ask her yourself. She had all these injuries. Fine, that's her problem. Made her extremely irritable. And I don't take painkillers. I've hurt my knee. I just don't. I believe in, if you can increase your pain threshold, obviously it's going to be easier, even if you're a sports person, obviously. Like, ooh. Anyway, I'm sure I said this to her, and she was like, I just need more and more painkillers. And I'm like, why? Why would you need that? Why haven't you increased your pain threshold if you're such a sportswoman? Anyway, I don't know, life choices. So she, what did she do? She had a house party. It wasn't even a party to do with Made By. So we organised a huge party, but this was not a party to do with Made By. She didn't invite a lot of industry people. Most of her friends were just industry people, which is fine, but it was at her house. She did do some dodgy stuff, by the way. Like, she employed her husband to coach me on research, and I just thought, has he lost his job or something? Anyway, so much corruption in that person. I wouldn't give her a penny. I would not give her a penny. She did loads of things which were so dodgy. It was unbelievable. Anyway, additional to that, so she had this party, and you know what? I think I said I was going to go, and then I just thought, oh God, the last thing I want to do is spend an evening with her. Like, I didn't go, and you know what I did instead? I think I said I was ill. And do you know what? Julian I and we hadn't had Persia at that stage, but on Friday, at the weekend, we'd always go to my parents in Bromley, and we'd just sit there and veg out. We'd just walk in, there'd be curry on the table, and we'd just like watch TV and sit with my parents. And that's what we did all weekend. That's what we would do. Do you do that with your parents? That's what we used to do every weekend. Honestly, we just used to go to my parents on a Friday night usually, and just sit with my parents. Like, they'd be doing their stuff. Sometimes Julian and my dad would argue about washing up, and that's all we did. Sometimes I used to argue with my mum while I ate her curry about stupid things. That's what we did most weekends. We just went to my parents and spent time with them. Just sat there. Just didn't do anything. That was our weekend. Literally, that's how do you do that with your parents? Even when you don't have children, do you just sit there and just eat food? Like every weekend? Because we would go away quite often. So when we were in London, we'd literally just sit there in Bromley eating curry and watching TV. This was in our 40s. This was in our 30s, and our 40s as well, when we had Persia. But all through, since I met Julian, when I was 28, since we started dating, before we got married, every weekend, we would just sit at my parents' house and eat curry and watch TV. Watch sci-fi, watch ZTV. My dad had loads of TVs in the house. They were all on, usually, all at the same time. Literally, that's what we did. Just sit there and with my parents. Sometimes I looked after the cat, so we would, watch my parents look after the cat. That's all we did. I am the luckiest person in the world. Do you do that with your parents? Do you go every weekend and just sit with them and do nothing while they fuss around you and do everything and do all your washing and cooking? My mum even used to feed me. She used to put food in my mouth because I was busy, wasn't I? I was busy with my projects and stuff. Did your mummy not do that for you in your 30s and your 20s? And the whole of your life, and then until she passed away. They're very precious to me. That's why I get really I saw some random people at their graves, and I just thought, don't ever come. Don't do that. My relationship with my parents is my relationship with my parents. No one gets to come into that space. It's not part of their show. I'm sorry if you don't have that relationship with your parents. How terrible for you. I don't really care, to be honest. Because I had a great mummy and daddy. And good for me.